Welcome to the video, y'all. Today we got some great clips on exposing the system and also the great reset of humanity, past and present. What they trying to do to us today. Y'all lock in, hold on, let's get to it.
The reason that our captors keep doing these resets, like the Tartarian mud flood and the 2030 Great Reset, is because eventually we always remember. Fortunately for us, our Book of Life, or DNA, has all the old chapters still written in it, and they don't know how to get those chapters out. What they do instead is genetically modify us so we turn into different beings. We used to be much different than we are today. They also tell us that all of that DNA that stores the ancestors' memories is junk, so we don't look into it. They also put RNA and DNA blockers on the genetic chain so it turns off a bunch of our DNA. This limits our lifespan, intelligence, melanation, and much more. But like I said, lucky enough for us, we always end up remembering, because all that DNA is still there. And some of us even know how to turn it back on and access those memories. And what happens every now and then is there's a critical mass of remembrance, which then automatically leads to us turning our superpowers back on. It always starts with one person who then electrically activates other people to start remembering as well.
So let me ask y'all something, right? Have y'all, like in your lifetime, have you been feeling like you've been searching for something that you just haven't found yet? Cause that's kind of how I feel. Like I'm constantly looking through things, searching, but I haven't found everything I need yet. Let me know in the comments if that's how y'all feeling. There's some of y'all.
They start tapping into these memories, and then they start telling other people about it. Meanwhile, that morphogenetic field is being activated to turn all of us back on so we can wake up. Their only answer to this is to wipe out civilization, burn all the books in the library, rewrite history, and throw anyone that disagrees into an insane asylum. This is what happened during the Tartarian mud floods. Although they keep many of the old buildings, and this is our biggest key to understanding what happened in the past. All the churches, state buildings, and banks are a key to understanding those buildings, the technology, and our true human history. Who knows how many times they've reset things since Atlantis? What we have to do is get ahead of their reset and stop them before they hit the button. Therefore, we must all tap into Christ consciousness and bring this secret information to the mainstream so all people can see it all at once.
Because any soul coming in since 1985, really I would say 1980, is an old soul.
Yo. I know y'all probably ain't gonna want to. Tell me, put in the comments what year you was born. If you was born in the 80s, 90s, or 2000s, put it in there if you want to. If you want to.
They are here to fight, but in a way that you don't even understand. They are here to reawaken you, to help get guidance, and they all must be centered. You cannot leave those souls alone. They did not come here to be left alone. If you leave them alone, they will come into the maturity of the animal body and they will fight and kill. They have done it before, they will do it again. If you guide them, they will not be abused by computers, they master computers. In fact, it kicks in their neuron centers faster. The sounds that you hear on the air in rap, the rap is only the soul that is very angry, and it needs to be angry because it needs that strength of, again, the, the gland of fight and flight. Can't think of the gland right now I'm talking about. It needs that kind of a quickening and awakening. But it also needs a time for peace and quiet. And you will find once they go through that, they suddenly fall asleep, and they sleep very deeply, because that is also to bring balance. But mark my word, none of these children are weak. These children are strong beyond belief, and they can take things that you could not take. That's why they chose this time of birth. They can be very good, they can be very bad, but they are not weak. They are strong. They were here for the final countdown.
Because, children don't arrive into consciousness until around 6 or 7 sometimes.
So I would disagree with that. I think children are very much conscious than us, especially when you're talking about like on a theta state. Children are very conscious. Now, what happens with children is we mold them and we dumb down their consciousness. Like, have you ever seen a child when they're like 3 and they play with toys or they play with imaginary shit, and in their mind it is real? They got capes on, they jumping off couches, they talking about monsters, they see things that's invisible, they have an invisible friend that is real to them, having full-blown conversations. They're interacting with other dimensions of densities. They dream. Their imagination is out of this world. They make a whole house out of a damn box that you order from Amazon. Then we constantly tell them no. We tell them don't jump or you will bust your head. We installing fear into them. We telling them what to watch. We turning on the TVs. We introducing them into these electronics, EMF frequencies like cell phones and tablets. We are dumbing down their consciousness, and I think the children are here to really teach us on how to be free, so we can be free thinkers to expand our consciousness.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm trying to get back to that state where my imagination is like that and my creativity is like that.
Kids go to school because their parents go to work. When I found out in my freshman sociology class that the 8-hour-a-day, 5 days a week school week was solely based around the 8-hour-day, 5-day work week, I was further radicalized. Children essentially go to school to be babysat for 8 hours while their parents are at work. It has absolutely nothing to do with interdisciplinary studies, actually educating children or getting them ready for the real world or college. It has everything to do with their parents continuing to turn the wheel of the system. Hell, and elementary education was not compulsory in all 50 states until the early 20th century. Which, funny enough, corresponds with the nation's second industrial revolution, getting them adults in them factories and getting your ass put to work. And it wasn't until about my junior year in college when I was taking child development as an elective, and one of my classmates was taking child psychology, that I learned that kids only need about less than an hour of each subject to actually learn. And that going to school for 8 hours a day doing 7 to 8 subjects per day actually is horrible for information retention. Many scholars over the years have suggested school only being 4 hours long in block schedules, where on A days, half of the subjects be taught, and on B days, the other half of the subjects be taught. But why has that not been adopted? Capitalism, especially the exploitive kind that we practice here in the United States, cannot flourish when majority of their workforce has to be home taking care of their offspring. So the kids go to school the same 8 hours the parents go to work, and when the parents come home, they're dog tired and they don't parent their children, they don't help them on homework, they don't reinforce positive behavior, they don't reinforce the information they learn at school. So when you ask yourself why are the kids so fucking dumb nowadays, you have your answer.
So let me get this straight. You get jumped in or initiated into being a United States citizen when your parents register you as a baby before 10 days after being born by law, signing your life away and making you an employee of the United States at birth. And then they force you into these prison-like structures called school to prepare you for another prison-like structure, which could be actual prison if you don't comply, or your job. And then boom, welcome to adulthood, where you work and get robbed. They finesse money out of your paycheck every single time you get paid just to give you a very small percentage of that money back. And then the rest of that money, you will never see it again. Let's keep going. That thing that you buy is owned by you. You're renting everything. That car that you just paid off, it's not yours. You're just renting it. You're still paying the government car taxes. See what happens if you don't pay your car taxes. They're letting you borrow their car and making you pay to drive it. And if you don't pay the government their car taxes on their car, because it's not yours, they will suspend your tags and your registration. And if you still drive the car, they'll suspend your driver's license. And if you still drive the car, they will just take your black ass right on to jail. You know, that prison structure that they've been preparing you for, it says grade school. Oh yeah, and that house that you just paid off, you're still renting that because you're still paying land taxes, property taxes. And guess what? If you stop paying the government their cut, they will cut you off. Everything on that land is now theirs, to the point where they can sell it to someone else. And now you're old and you're gray and you're about to retire, but you're too sick to actually enjoy the rest of your life because the US government has been putting poison in your food to make money off of the healthcare system. And not to mention that retirement fund, yeah, taxed, and then you die. And at any point in your life, if you want to renounce your citizenship, you have to pay an expat tax, an exit tax. So let's just be clear, the United States government is your pip who owns all of your fucking shit and gets a cut of all of your fucking money. And if you want to leave, you have to pay your own ransom, okay? And before you start trying to tell me where you think your tax dollars are going, I'm gonna need you to do some research on the $21 trillion that the government cannot account for. $21 trillion just fucking missing. Look into it.
Really don't own nothing in this life. You don't own, this is a rented life. Real. Ain't nobody better than nobody on this earth. You can't take it with you. All I can buy is cars and shoes, a bigger house, more cars. This is what money is. If you really break it down, there's nothing you can really do with it. You're just stacking it up to give it to somebody. Because if something happened to you, you're not taking it with you. So once I start thinking like that, the desire for me to chase in this business and compete, it went away.
Mike Epps done figured out the code, man. It's
Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, you can, the government can, take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you just got caught engaging in. They can take everything.
Not to get in my conspiracy theory bag, but I know World Forum, they came out with an article a couple years ago. People, y'all can go check this out. They said by year 2030, most people, they say you will own nothing and you will be happy about it. And I remember when it came out, a lot of people was like, wait, what they talking about? It's because I think, my opinion, in this climate, like you said, these hedge funds, they snatching up everything. Mm-hmm. It's gonna get to a point as people, they're not buying homes, especially most people. I say the average person is probably single today. You know what I'm saying? Relationships is not like booming like it once was 50 years ago.
Is crazy right now.
If you're a single person, you're not really gonna see the use or the value of buying a house if you're alone. I think their plan is for them to own everything. But my point I'm getting at is it's gonna be extremely hard to build wealth. That's why I preach it so much, because I know there's got to be a sense of urgency. Because how can you build wealth if you can't get access to homes like that? If they snatched up, you know what I'm saying? You know what wealth in most families, your net worth is strictly connected to the house you own.
And for the most part,
But if you don't own a home, what other ownership do you have?
But
yeah, that's real talk, man.
No one wants you to own anything, because if you own something, you stop paying and you don't own any debt on it, and no one ever makes money. The minute you buy something and pay it off, no one makes money. You're the only one that makes money. And in this world, nobody ever wants you to pay off anything because everyone else is making money off your payments.
What's the end goal here? Because the U.S. government cannot possibly believe that this is sustainable.
We already know what the end goal is. Take away the housing, make homelessness illegal, imprison everyone who's homeless, sell them back their freedom through working, having everyone live in workforce housing units, and you can only keep your house as long as you're working for the company that gave it to you. You own nothing, and when you quit that job, you'll still not own your home. So that means you will have to die working, just like they want anyway by raising the retirement age. That's literally the end goal. Like, the end goal is to make sure that everyone is enslaved and working as cogs in a machine. And I say that they've made that pretty clear, which is why it's more important now than ever to be invested in justice and hitting them where it hurts, which is their wallets and their workforce. They're already complaining that we're not having babies because we're depleting the future workforce. But literally nobody can afford children. So without kids and without money and without housing, we literally have nothing to lose.
A lodio title, you can buy a car, you can buy a jet plane, you can buy a house. A lodio simply means nobody, including God or Jesus, can touch this property. You own it. Understand that if you're a U.S. citizen, you do not own anything. If you paid your house off, you don't own it. You have an equitable interest in the property, but you don't own it. Only way you can own anything in America, and actually own it, is with something called a lodio title. A-L-L-O-D-I-A-L, a lodio title. A lodio title means God cannot touch it. No one, because it's absolute owned by you. But if you don't buy your car, your jet plane, your boat, your house, whatever it is, and have a lodio title, then you don't own it. The authorities can come in and take your home anytime they want. Banks cannot touch anything that has a lodio title. Government cannot touch it. No one can touch anything that is bought under a lodio title. Queen of England, everything she owns is in a lodio title. Means God can't touch it.
1933 is when they started monetizing us and pledging us as collateral for the debt. Now, to register, the word register means to abandon. And when you register a car or a birth or a house, you're giving it to the government. You're giving your legal title to the government, and you only retain equitable title, which means that you have the use of that property. The government allows you to use it, thinking that you own it. Clear evidence of this is anyone who owns a house, look at their mortgage, and you're referred to as the tenant. Not the owner, the tenant. So if you think you own your house, you're mistaken. Same with your car. The reason why they can impound your car is because you registered it, and under maritime admiralty salvage laws, they come along and they adopt it. In the case of the birth registry, they adopt the abandoned child.
I read Klaus Schwab's statements about own nothing and be happy, and the statements by Bill Gates and all the World Economic Forum, Davos, Billionaires Boys Club, about what they want for the rest of humanity, and it's alarming, it's troubling. A lot of those proposals are just antithetical to everything that the United States believes in, and I think it's really important for a president to draw that line and to look at any kind of support that we give to those organizations and end it.
Yo, I ain't gonna front. I like this dude right here, man. This Kennedy guy. I like him, man. I like what he stands for.
The Great Reset is actually the name of a book by a very prominent advocate of it. His name is Klaus Schwab. He sent me a copy. I guess he sent one to probably every government leader around the world.
In a speech to the UN, you use this phrase, the Great Reset. It comes from the name of a book by the founder of the Economic Forum in Davos, a guy named Klaus Schwab. Just tell us, finally, what you meant when you said the Great Reset. What is it?
I didn't say Great Reset.
This pen has provided an opportunity for a reset.
Yo, why they be lying like that, man? He ain't say the great. You said the Great Reset, bro. Stop playing with niggas.
The COVID-19 crisis provides an opportunity for a reset.
And the disruption is an opportunity for us to reset.
But the tragedy of 19 has also given us an unexpected opportunity for a reset.
An unprecedented opportunity to rethink and reset the ways in which we live and do business.
This is a time for a great reset.
We go for a great reset.
They want to reset us, huh?
Scott Morrison's so-called Trusted Digital Identity Bill is a copy-paste directly from the World Economic Forum's Global Digital Identity Project. It's designed to shift the global economy away from private ownership into what the World Economic Forum calls an access model, where you own nothing and instead rent goods and services from the world's billionaires and billionaire corporations. In other words, the goal of digital identity is a life via subscription. Without assets and ownership, Australians will have no power over government, nor any power over the corporations that want to control people's lives. In their eyes, this will help the world live sustainably. But in reality, it's a form of slavery to a closed-loop economy where you have less and the rich have more, way more. The Liberals have already spent $1 billion of our taxpayer dollars on their digital economy strategy 2030. All they need to make the global socialist dream a reality is to pass the so-called Trusted Digital Identity Bill.
He talking about Australia, right? But that's happening everywhere. I can see it right here in America. Like, I can see it right here in my household, man. I mean, what y'all think, man? Can y'all see it? Am I the only one? Let me know. Let me know in the comments, man.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what.
That's the school system right there.
Is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authorities. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another. Convince them that their species used to be that of an incognizant wild animal. Make them think that their very existence is so incredibly random that they lack purpose and struggle to
How many of y'all think we came from Lucy, man? Let me know in the comments.
make sense of a creator. Tell them that their kind is as smart as they've ever been so that they don't question the integrity of the system that they're in. Provide them idols with artificial beauty and use them as examples of what it is to look perfect so that they are never content with their own appearance and can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other. Create addictive digital platforms that rank them by numbers so that they base their self-worth off of the amount of followers that they have and are never satisfied.
Well, guys, that's all we have for today. Thanks for coming through, hanging out with your boy. Till next time, I'll holler at y'all. Peace.